yourself. So what does the psychology of greed also do? To protect itself, it has to create the legal shield. And let's understand this. Laws protects capital, not people. I'm going to say this again. The laws protect capital, not people, as much as we want to believe the contrary. But think about it. Philosophy alone isn't enough to keep the 99% down. You need a weapon to control the crowds. And what is that weapon? The legal system. The legal system that we exist today. There is a saying, which I find very sarcastic, of course. The law, in its majestic equality, forbids the rich and the poor to sleep under bridges, to beg in the streets, or to steal bread. What are your thoughts about this phrase? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I find it burlesque and quite humorous. But in reality, this is all a sarcasm. And why is it a sarcasm? Because the law is not equal. It wasn't created to be equal. The American law system was tailored, stitch by stitch, to protect property, not people. If this was the case, you will be protected today. Do you feel protected? Do you feel that the law favors you versus a corporation? I'm just going to take an example. Let's look at the bail system, just to prove a point. If a rich man and a poor man gets charged of the same crime, the rich man writes a check and goes home to prepare for his defense in his comfort, at home, safe, able to think with his attorneys the strategy to win his case. The poor man sits in jail, in a cage, for months, loses his job, loses his apartment, and eventually pleads guilty just to get out and restart again. If we call that restarting, that isn't justice. That is a lawful fraud to protect the rich and not the poor. And because of that there's no equality in the system. This is a ransom. Think about who created the law. The gatekeepers of yesterday are the same gatekeepers of today. And I want to give you another example. Let's look at wage theft versus a bank robber. Yes, I'm going a little radical here, but I want to stick to a point. If you go to a gas station, you steal $100 from the register, the police will come with guns waiting to point at you, drawn it, and more than likely you go to prison. You deserve it, committed a crime. But if your boss steals $100 from your paycheck by forcing you to walk off the clock or do extracurricular activities, or things don't pertain to your department of responsibility, which happens millions of times to millions of Americans every single day, the police will tell you, well, this is a civil matter. Go to court and fight for it. Do you see the difference? Let me know what you think about this example. Is it clear for you? Do you see where the inequality exists? And I want to stick to statistics. What does the statistics shows us? That wage theft accounts for more lost money annually than all robberies, burglaries, and even auto thefts combined. But yet, nobody goes to jail for it. I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like. I was a district manager for a company in which they pay salary. Indirectly, they will force you to work until you complete deadline, sometimes going from 12 to 13 to 14 hours a day. And this was just with higher executive. This was also for management. The place was unsafe. I'm actually going to post some of those pictures so you can see how unsafe the place was. And also the way they received shipment was very unorganized. So the payroll didn't match the operations. So it was impossible to stick payroll and complete the operations and have enough budget to provide customer service. When I got out of this company, which I'm not going to mention, there was a class lawsuit to which I registered because I wasn't the only one that felt affected by this company's abuse. Within a year, I was able to recover all that money. I just want to tell you guys, if you're a manager, if you're a leader and you work salary, you have the right to get into a civil lawsuit so you can get paid all the hours that you are owed. Please don't be discouraged. Unite with others because others are going with the same similar problems or facing the same problems. Unity creates force. And this takes me to this paradox. Why these individuals don't go to jail? Why are they immune to going to jail? Because the laws were written by the people who own the companies, the gatekeepers. They created a qualified immunity for capitalism, and it makes perfect sense. Why will you shoot yourself on the foot? A corporation can poison a river, crash the economy, and kill workers with unsafe conditions. And the penalty is only a fine, a cost of doing business. Cynical, right? Machiavellian. I will even call it a terrorist act to human society, a poison. But if you did these things, you, the one that doesn't belong to that 1%, you will be probably on the death row, considered to be a plague that needs to be exterminated. This leads me to the Ivy League corruption, because who is committing these crimes and getting away with it? And what is the mask? What is the social mask they wear? Is the polite corruption, pretending to be who they're not. We have these images in our heads of thugs being in dark alleys, but the most dangerous people in America don't wear masks. They're not in dark alleys. They wear Brooks Brothers suits, walk in Wall Street. They have degrees from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all the Ivy Leagues you can think of. Not everyone. Let me make sure I'm very clear. There's a lot of honest people there too that fight these systems, but the vast majority do. They are involved and they know what they're doing, which leads me to talking about the Ivy League shield. There is a cultural myth to understand this, that if someone wants to enter an elite university, we consider them better than us, smarter than us, and more moral. They have higher values. That's the perception. We also believe they're more capable. This is why we give them all these high rank responsibilities. But this is the ultimate camouflage. These institutions are not just schools. They are the networking hub for the ruling class. This is how they associate with one another. They get to know how things work so they can keep working in the same environment. They teach a very specific curriculum. How to extract wealth without looking like a monster. Very funny, right? They learn the language of corporate social responsibility and ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and government. They learn how to play the rules and speak the language and make you believe. They learn how to smile while they sign the order to outsource 5,000 jobs. They pretend that they care about you, but in reality, all they care is about themselves and their social net. Have you ever seen any billionaires and millionaires in your neighborhood restructuring a system? No, right? So why do you believe them when they're in a corporate setting talking? There's a big difference between what you say and what you do, and a person should be judged for what they do, not what they say. The question is, why do we keep trusting them? Why do we keep trusting these CEOs? Because we are trained to respect the credentials. We have been brainwashed to do this automatically. When a CEO goes on TV with a Harvard MBA or any Ivy League MBA or PhD, and explains why he has to raise the price of life-saving machine by 500% or medicines at a 200% increase, we think, or most think, he must know something I don't know. But the reality, no, he doesn't. He just knows how to make greed sound like economics. Do the math. Just do your math and you will see that what I'm telling you is right. The elites move in a different world. They don't worry about police, the FBI. They don't worry about rent. They don't worry about healthcare, but you do, right? And because they are detached from your reality, they are capable of immense cruelty because they don't know what it is to be in your shoes. And they don't want to know either. They're too comfortable in their safety network. That's like the Greek gods in the Olympus. Why would they have to go down and be interested in the mortal's life? But let's get this clear. It's not that they hate you. They don't even think about you at all, which is more frightening. Do you think about an ant all day? You're just a simple number in a spreadsheet. You are replaceable. And Ivy Leagues optimize how to teach this as a spreadsheet and how to convince you that they know better for your life. So what does this create? Welcome back again, Ethics Skill Podcast, where we explore human experiences. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do not forget our campaign. We are committed to transform your subscriptions into pro bono programs for mental health. So you can free somebody's mind from their traumas and help them heal just by subscribing. Very simple, and it costs absolutely nothing. Help us through this campaign, and we just want to pay forward, not only to our viewers, but for those that can't afford mental health services. Just remember, the statistics are real. Only 4 out of 10 Americans can afford mental health services. So help us change that. Hopefully, we can move the statistics, and perhaps moving from 4 to 5 out of 10 people have good mental health.